The Power Hour.
Well, a warm welcome to you from the BizNews team. I'm Alec Hogg. Here's Stuart, Lowman, Nadya, Swart, and Justin Rowe-Roberts, as always, bringing you up to date with the intro to our BizNews Power Hour that we run Monday through Thursday. So for us, this is like a Friday. Does it feel like a Friday, Nadya?
It's getting there. It's definitely getting there.
Okay, well, tomorrow we still got tomorrow to go, but for us, it's we put our heads down, and Fridays are a little easier for us. Certainly for Stuart, who has to make sure that everything is done according to plans. Stu, tell us how well those plans are working out as far as the biznews.com traffic is concerned. What are people reading?
Thanks, Alec. Nice day on the site today. The most popular is the Adrian Gore piece on mandatory vaccinations and his moral argument for them. It was a piece we had to run given the Nyasa interview did. So we like balance. So we gave the community some balance there. Another piece is from independent financial advisor Dawn Riddler. She writes about RAs and are we seeing the end of them in the current environment, or from what we used to know RAs as investors. And then the piece Nadya worked on today is the Simon Linker reader column. He does generally one once a week, but he looks at the Joe Rogan fiasco. As we know, he caught, as Simon says, the coof. It's not COVID, it's the coof.
So, what does he mean by that, the coof? It's just his little nickname, or do people call it the coof? Justin, you've had the coof or COVID, you and I.
Yep, I did have COVID, Alec. I must say it hit me hard. I guess different strokes for different folks. Some people react differently. It didn't treat me well. I know you handled it with relative ease, but you did have one shot of the vaccine.
I had a vaccine, yeah, that made a huge difference. But Justin, the coof, have you ever heard of that? Is that a new slang that they might be using in London, perhaps?
Never heard of that.
Cape Town yet.
We've got to keep the slang, Alec. As First Rand show us in there, they supply us a piece once a week and they talk about slang and how it's necessary in today's world. So I think coof is a good light use of the word COVID.
So well done, Simon Lincoln Reader. Okay, and the other stories that are hitting the highlights?
Those are the top three. Nods on the video side.
So there's been some good ones in the last 24 hours. The video summary of Helen Ziller's interview that you did with her earlier this week. It's great. She calls out the IEC, saying that there was sleight of hand and the broke ANC's tactics behind the rationale behind their attempt to postpone the elections. And the flash briefing from yesterday is also being really well watched, which covered Masondo's debt for climate swap proposal.
That's
and
crazy,
the third video,
isn't it? I mean,
yeah,
you watch that video.
It's very odd. I listened to the interview, and I mean, someone that's supposed to give clarity wasn't able to do so. So it's going to be interesting to see that play out. And then the third video is, of course, Magnus Haystack's interview from yesterday.
Magnus is very popular amongst our community. Also popular at the BizNews investment conference was Rob Hersoff, and I managed to catch him in between appointments today. So the audio is not great, you can hear, but I guess if you're a billionaire, you move from one appointment to the next. We take what we can get, but it's an interesting chat that's coming up later in the program. But before we get there or discuss the whole rundown of what's coming up in the next 60 minutes, Stuart, what are our community listening to on BizNews Radio?
On the podcast side, Alec, the last night's BizNews Power Hour was actually top of the pops that side. Magnus's interview, as we know, in second place on the most listened to. And then Justin's interview with Robert Graham from Purple Capital on Bitcoin and the use, obviously, in El Salvador and what that means for them with the EC10 bundle they've got.
That was a really good interview and got fantastic support, I see, on social media, Justin. But they do that, the guys from Easy Equities, don't they? They like to promote each other when they get a little bit of publicity. But crypto's a popular area on our site. People like it.
Agreed, Alec. It was nice to see Charles Savage and the rest of the Purple Group / Easy Equities team pushing it on social media. They did get my Twitter handle incorrect by 1 bar, so I had to see it just as a result of following Charles himself. But yeah, cryptocurrency, obviously it's back in the mix. As you say, you can compare it to Transvaal rugby. When things are going well, lots of people are talking about it. When it's going not so well, you won't really hear a dime.
Western Province rugby the same?
I guess to some extent, although I'd like to think we're a little bit more loyal, Alec.
Yeah, you certainly when you were allowed to go to the stadiums, Ellis Park would be empty when the Golden Lions weren't playing well. But of course, when they started to get better, it was full. At the moment, even if there wasn't any COVID, it would be just about as empty as that. But anyway, it's now time to pick up on what's been going on in the headlines.
BrightRock believes that with every change in life comes opportunity, and the markets aren't any different. The daily movement in the markets mean change for us all, sometimes small, sometimes big. This daily market report is made just for you by BrightRock, the first ever needs-meshed life insurance that changes as your life changes.
What's in the news headlines, Nadya?
South Africa's government is preparing to ease restrictions that were imposed to curb the spread of the coronavirus after a sustained slowdown in new infections. Larger public gatherings are likely to be permitted, making it easier for political parties to campaign for upcoming municipal elections, according to two people with knowledge of the deliberations within the government, but they've asked not to be identified because the information isn't public. Alcohol trading hours are set to be extended and a nighttime curfew will probably be shortened. The National Coronavirus Command Council met on Tuesday to assess the rules. President Cyril Ramaphosa will discuss planned changes with officials from religious groups, political parties, and civil rights groups ahead of an address to the nation in the coming days, when he's expected to move the country to virus alert level 2 from level 3. South Africa's current account surplus for the second quarter missed estimates even as it widened to a record amid improving economic activity and growing exports following the easing of restrictions. The balance on the current account, the broadest measure of trade in goods and services, widened to an annualized surplus of 5.6% of gross domestic product from a revised 4.3% positive balance in the previous quarter. While that's the largest quarterly current account surplus on record, it's still less than the 6.7% median estimate of 13 economists in a Bloomberg survey. And Correctional Services Commissioner Arthur Fraser has admitted that he overruled a decision by the Medical Parole Board that Jacob Zuma not be released from prison and that he personally made the call to let him go. Fraser said that he provided many reasons and they were documented but only available to those who need to see them. The Medical Parole Board said that Zuma was in a stable condition and rejected his application to be released. Medical parole is typically reserved for those who are terminally ill or incapacitated, but Fraser said that Zuma was frail.
Ach nee, man.
No,
Arthur
no.
Fraser. He is the star of the President's Keepers of Jacques Pauw's book. And he's the star confidant and associate of Jacob Zuma. So he overrules the Medical Parole Board.
Yeah.
But what the hell is he doing as a minister in Ramaphosa's cabinet?
He's just with his flock, Alec.
Oh my goodness! Isn't that strange? The old. Let's not grasp the nettle. Let's just unity. And here we go. It's not much unity going on in the ANC at the moment. It'd be interesting.
No.
Any more news, Nadya, on what's happening with the court challenge now that the DA have put forward, constitutional court challenge, so that the ANC cannot register candidates that hadn't been registered by the deadline?
No news, but I'm assuming it does seem like this whole easing of restrictions to allow for campaigning does seem to be related. It's a little bit too coincidental for it not to be, but we'll see.
Yeah. Well, the ANC is certainly on the back foot when it goes into these municipal elections. Justin, are our markets on the front or the back foot today?
Not looking too good, Alec, with the JSE All-Share Index sharply lower at 64,100. In the currency markets, the rand was stronger against all the major currencies to 14 rand 13 cents to the dollar, 19 rand 56 cents to the pound, and 16 rand 70 cents to the euro. Gold is down at $1,790 an ounce. A Kruger rand will put you back around 27,000 rand. Brent crude is flat at $72.40 a barrel, and Bitcoin is slightly up, trading around the 660,000 rand level. In the financial news, Aspen Pharmacare is weighing up acquisition offers for its active pharmaceutical ingredient business, which involves the substances used to give medication its effects. In a market update on Thursday, the pharmaceutical giant said it had received 2 material unsolicited offers for the business. The company has decided to embark on a structured process to facilitate offers for all or parts of its API business from those parties that submitted the unsolicited offers and other selected interested parties. Sanlam has paid out 22 billion rand in death claims since the start of last year due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Of this, 8 billion rand was paid in the first half of this year in South Africa alone, the group said on Thursday, presenting its half-year results. Santam also continued to settle contingent business interruption claims and paid 700 million rand to policyholders, in addition to the 1 billion rand paid in interim relief in August last year, bringing the total CBI payments to 1.7 billion rand at the end of August this year. The group expects that existing reserves should largely mitigate the COVID-19 related excess mortality impact on operating profit for 2021.
Isn't that interesting? They fought it tooth and nail, and now that they've been forced, sometime that is, to pay out, they are telling you how good they are by meeting the claims for 1.7 billion rand. Although I suppose on the other end, when you've got 1.7 billion rand at stake, you might want to fight it.
I guess it is ironic, and you can understand the insurers fighting, Alec. I think on face value, leisure and hospitality were obviously the hardest hit sectors. But if you look underlying now, a year on, insurance seems to be one of the laggards in all of this.
This market report was made just for you by BrightRock, the first ever needs-matched life insurance that changes as your life changes.
Well, thanks for being with us today and throughout this week. We'll be back again on Monday from the BizNews team. Until then, cheerio. You've been listening to the Power Hour, brought to you by the team at BizNews.